I'm feeling hurt, the first thing we will do is go tell the person that hurt us that they hurt us.
So, how does a sensitive person open up their heart, especially when their heart has been hurt a lot?
There's this persona that we've put on because we're scared our hearts get hurt.
I can never be a victim if I truly realize it's me versus me. So, how does a sensitive person open up their heart, especially when their heart has been hurt a lot? What does that mean? What does that look like? I know for me, I do have a very sensitive heart, and I've been running from it most of my life. And then once I really tapped into it, I realized how sensitive it really is. And, I realized the closest people that we're around sometimes, tend to be the people that we close off the most to. And I know from my experience, I've noticed for the most part, I'm really easygoing. I go with the flow. I'm happy most of the time. I brush things off my shoulders. But there's those times where I get sensitive, my little sensitive heart. Maybe I misinterpret what somebody close to me said and I get my feelings hurt. And what I don't know what to do sometimes is I'll open up and I'll share, oh, that thing that you said really hurt me. And then I've noticed some of those close people around me will take it personally or get defensive. And then I notice as soon as they do that and get defensive, it's like I'm already in this like triggered little 6-year-old girl space when I first came to that person. And then when I shared, oh gosh, this thing hurt, and it could have been a misconception or a misunderstanding. But as soon as I feel that defensiveness, I get scared and I shut down and I close off my heart. And then the story I tell myself is, oh, this isn't a safe person to open up to. And so, oh, I shouldn't open up my heart. Oh, I do need to keep it closed. See, it's not safe. Okay, you can't trust this person. But I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to do that. But how do you get out of that space of truly wanting to open up my heart, but not like get my feelings hurt so easy? So I'm like, I don't want to get, if they are defensive, I understand that's about them and their own insecurities. So I know then I'm making it more about me, but I'm already in, I feel like in this triggered little girl space that's out of my rational mind. So honestly, I don't know what to do. What do I do for that? And I, I'm curious too if there's other people that feel this way or have felt this before too. If you have, please like comment below on this and just say yes that you've experienced this and feel this to know if like I'm not the only one, if that you resonate with this. But I do, Rain, I want to ask your insight on that is what is one to do in that space of like, I don't want to close off to the, and the truth is it's the closest people around us because those are the ones that we truly want to be able to express ourselves and open up to. So it's usually our partner or it's our kids that we want to connect with, or it's our closest friend or our parents. It's the closest people where this really matters. This isn't just some random person because those people are like, meh, we probably don't open up to them completely anyways. So this really matters because these are the relationships in our life that are the most important to us. And it's not going to grow the relationship by us closing off our heart, by me closing off my heart. So I understand that. But also, I can't keep getting my feelings hurt. When I go to this person, I'm like, oh, that really hurt. And they get defensive and upset. The truth is, I don't want to go to that person again, which means I close off my heart and then I go to other people and then open up to them. So is that the solution? Is it just go to the other people that you're naturally safe and open up with? Or is there work that I need to do to not take it personally? But yet I'm in a triggered space. So I don't know if I can rationally work it through. Please help me with this, Rain. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh,
Advice.
sweetheart. Yes, no, I totally understand what you're talking about because I went through that. Of course, I think most sensitives in the world go through this where you're like so sensitive and your heart is so important. And in the spiritual world we're in, basically what is happening is being directed to open our hearts, open our hearts, open our hearts. And to the sensitives of the world, what they needed to learn was how to build boundaries, how to build boundaries, how to build boundaries. So it's really very confusing for us because it's like, well, open your heart. And then no, but you have to know your boundaries. And I think there's a bit of a confusion there as to what does it mean to open my heart but still have boundaries? How to be vulnerable, but um, have a proper container. So everything you shared, sweetheart, I'm sure it resonates with so many people. It resonates with me 100%. Um, and the whole like needing to express our feelings to others, thinking that is what opening my heart actually means. And going to the closest people. I loved how you shared that. Yeah, going to our closest people to get them to make us feel safe when we choose to open our hearts. So this whole, like, as we're spiritually awakening and going like, okay, so we're meant to do this thing with our heart, but it's so dangerous in our world today to do this thing with our heart, and not everyone is safe. Actually, you'll notice that as you're going through the spiritual awakening, almost most, I'm not going to say everyone, almost most people who are around you are simply not safe to open your heart to. However, one opening one's heart has nothing to do with anyone else. Okay. So the thing is, because we have been brought up to always be in a comparison state, to wait for someone to give us permission to become, to wait for someone to show us, oh, yes or no, good or bad, right or wrong, we don't know how to do it for ourselves. So when it comes to something like, let's open our heart up for the sensitives of the world, this is scary hell, because now we have to find safe people to do this with. So again, we're still not opening up our hearts because we're looking for safe people to be able to do that opening heart surgery with others. And so opening heart actually means something entirely different. When I am ready to open up my heart, it means, am I opening my heart to myself? And I know this sounds really weird. And everyone's like, well, my heart's open to me. This is between me and you, but it's not true. Because if my heart was open to myself, I wouldn't need anyone on the planet to give me permission to open it, okay? To be a safe space for me to open it. For me to freak out if it isn't a safe space to open it, it'll be completely irrelevant. Others will become completely irrelevant. Now, the reason it feels this way inside, and there's this tremendous fear of opening up and coming into your heart space, is because we have a very hard time connecting to our hearts with ourselves. So if I'm feeling hurt, the first thing we will do is go tell the person that hurt us that they hurt us, right? Because we want them to fix the hurt they caused. But the hurt that we have assumed they caused is a hurt that we have caused ourselves because we are sensitive. We've interpreted about ourselves, even if they're saying that it's you and you don't give me space or you whatever, it's their paradigm. Why does it hurt me? Because it's a belief I have about me anyway. So if I'm feeling it inside, I don't cater to me. The last person that will cater to me is me. The first person that I'm looking to cater to me is the other individual, is the parent, the friend, the partner, the child, the coworker that needs to heal what they have caused. But no one can cause that. No one can cause me pain other than me. So if I'm going to do the whole let me self-love myself, let me open my heart, the only way I can do that is if actually I can myself identify that I am hurt right now. Right. So self-love is basically, and opening my heart is a very self-love based experience, which is, I am feeling this way at this moment. Am I able to open my heart to myself and be kind to myself in this process? That's what's opening heart. It has nothing to do with any other individual on this planet. Because if I walk down the street and someone says, oh my God, your hair is purple, it's so ugly, and it isn't purple, it won't hurt me, right? It won't be like, oh, it's because I opened my heart, he gave me his opinion. It'll just be like, whatever, it'll just slide off of me. Now, if it's a trauma based or something that already I believe about myself inside, like, oh, I believe I talk too much, right? Or I believe I'm too much. And then I'm in a conversation with someone and they ignore me, right? I'm opening my heart and talking my vulnerability and they ignore me. Or they come back at me with a response because they're going through something. They've been triggered too, right? It'll hurt so much. So he can say, your purple hair, you're the only one that thinks purple hair is okay and all that stuff. If purple hair hurts me emotionally, if someone pointing out that my quirky ways of doing things in life is a bad thing because that's my trauma, that's why I do it. When he says that, he's the one to blame. How dare he come and hurt me? But will I ever sit with that pain myself? Will I ever go back in and say, can I open myself to myself right now? It's not about opening my heart to that person. No one can take care of my heart. FYI, there isn't a soul on this planet that will ever take care of anyone else's heart. Even parents don't know how to take care of their own kids' hearts. It doesn't happen because no one has the exact same dialogue I have in my head. No one has the exact same emotions that are attached to the dialogue I have in my head. No one has exact same experience of my personal trauma. So my children could have a trauma, maybe because I ignored them when they asked for ice cream. And one of them decided that was the biggest thing because she was vulnerable that day, and the other one doesn't care. But I cannot understand. I won't be able to live in her detailed emotion, DNA, and timeline for me to teach her how to open her heart with me. Maybe then she decides I'm not a safe space. But if she go back inside and she can feel safe within herself, like, felt, mom, just ignore me. It's cool. Let's go play. And she does her own thing. She cares about herself. She's opened herself to herself. That's what it means to open your heart. It's where you're opening yourself to yourself. Okay. And in opening your heart that way, you naturally create a container for you. You naturally create a boundary. This isn't something you work on. Having boundaries isn't something you work on. Opening your heart isn't something you work on. None of this stuff is anything that needs any kind of effort at all. It only needs awareness. So if I'm walking around terrified to open my heart, it only ever means that I'm scared to sit with myself, that I'm scared to take care of myself, that there must be a fear in the background saying, well, if I can take care of myself in all these ways, then why do I need these people in my life? Right? Because this is the big thing. I remember, like, with a lot of my friends and my relationships and everything, it would be like, well, if I didn't have them to turn to reflect back to me what I want to hear, whether it was my ex husbands with an S, whether it was some ex friends with an S, right? Whether it's my parents, all these things, it was like, if I am self sufficient and I can care for me and I can open up my heart for me and I can take care of me internally, what do I need these people for? And that's where the paradigm shift needs to change. Because I don't need people in my life to make me feel better about who I am and what my life is like, right? And accept me for whatever version that's appearing any moment in time. I want people in my life that are just going to enjoy life the way I have chosen to enjoy it. Okay. They're not there to cater to me. They're not there to take care of me. Right. So that is what heart opening actually means. It's a very clear way of boundaries and setting those boundaries in a very different, it's a very different way of seeing life. Yeah. Is it making sense now?
Wow. Yes. Oh yeah. I was just like so present with all of that. Um, yeah, I had a couple of questions that I want to ask you about that. So, whew, this is like a big paradigm shift right here. This is amazing. So, okay, so if one, like you're having a conversation with somebody close to you that you love and you're being vulnerable, because this is the thing. I feel like for me specifically, I'm really trying to break out of this whole being like, I'm Barbie or I'm numb or I'm just like, I only share the great parts of me. That's how I live most of my life. So what I've been doing is really trying to open up and be vulnerable to go to like deeper levels with people, to be real. Like I want to have real conversations. The whole, okay, what do you do for work? What's the weather? How many kids do you have? Like, okay, boring. Like I want to get real with people. What is your heart feeling? What lights you up? What are you passionate about? What are you excited about? So if I open up and share and I'm authentic and I'm vulnerable, and the person like says a comment that I feel like is rude, I guess what do I do in those times? So there's one, obviously, the fact that I did get effective. That means that hit a wound, something sensitive of maybe not being heard, which a lot of us have. Like, I think that one goes deep of I just want to be heard. I want to be heard how I speak, and I just want to be appreciated and loved. So I feel like probably a lot of us can relate to that. That root hits deep with a lot of us. So when that does happen, obviously, like we're not going to be able to just be like, oh, we heard this episode, so I just need to like be secure and take care of me, whatever. So in the middle of it, where it's like, oh crap, I just got hurt, and it's like I understand that's probably my own insecurities. What do I do? Do I express that to that person and say, oh gosh, what you said really hurt? Or do I just say, oh, I need to go take some space? Do I like leave the area so I don't say anything that causes a fight? Like, what's the best way to avoid like a fight where the other person is getting defensive or upset, or like what's the best way through that in that situation?
Well, these are amazing questions. Okay, so I'll take them one at a time.
Okay.
But and it is amazing. I think it's a very important topic. And before I get into that, I just want to say if you are enjoying today's videos, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Truly, your support means so much to us, and we really truly appreciate this. So let's go back to question. The first thing you said is the Barbie look, and I love that thing, which is we can all relate to the Barbie look, right? Is like there's this persona that we've put on because we're scared our hearts get hurt, because our hearts get hurt when we were little. Like I just said with my child, maybe I forgot to get her the ice cream and she's interpreted in something, but her prefrontal cortex hasn't developed. Nothing in the brain has developed enough for her to assess the difference. So it's just childish perception that has become a reality in most of our thought patterns. Now, the Barbie look basically is I'm becoming something where everyone can finally appreciate and like, but it's not the real me. And you're saying, okay, how can I become more of myself? Well, it's impossible to become more of yourself just because if I can't accept the me that I've deleted in the past, the me that I've gotten rid of, okay, the me that I'm bugging people to like, but I myself don't like. So let's say I'm in a state of not accepting who I am and I want everyone to accept me. But in my mind, I believe, and this is one of my stories with my dad, which is he was always like cutting me short, like get to the end, right? And I love to tell stories, but get to the end. So I always feel like I have to be short, I have to be to the point. Nobody's really interested ever in what I say. So this is a belief I've developed. So therefore, anytime I do speak, okay, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm not accepting the way I'm speaking. So in my head is like, oh my God, are you talking too much? Are you not talking too much? Did you say it the right way? Did you not say it the right way? Is he hearing me? Is he not hearing me? Oh my God, he's rolling his eyes. Is he rolling his eyes at me? So much insecurity about me that's happening. So I personally don't accept what I'm going through. Therefore, do I have my own back? Therefore, is my heart open to me? Is it open to me? It really isn't, right? My heart's blocked to me. So how can anybody else actually be sensitive towards me or accept what I am saying? It's impossible. So I can't accept it. I'm waiting for them to give me the green light that, you know what, you can talk for an extra 5 minutes. Oh, you've got more to express? Okay, now I'll give you 3 more minutes, right? And then we like hover for this time, especially when we have the wound of I'm not heard, right? So when I'm not heard and I'm the one, so my belief, so this is it. My belief is I'm not heard. Now I want to be heard. So now I'm going to force, I want to be heard, right? And then I'm going to mingle in the whole let me open my heart thing and let me see if I'm safe here. Okay. So all of it is just a whole bunch of like fears wrapped in a like a beautiful box from the outside, like, sweetheart, to talk about stuff. And you're like, oh, I'm going to put it to the test, right? Will you listen to me? Will I be allowed? Will I be heard? Will I be all this stuff? Because I feel so insecure. And only from this person will I feel secure again, but it's momentary, right? And then the heart shuts again, and the heart shuts again, because of course, every single time that person will prove you right. They're proving us right. The friends, the family, the partners, they're proving us right. They're not doing anything other than prove us right. What they are is they're showing us exactly how it is that we speak to ourselves. So many of the times we don't even know. The beauty of this reflection world that we're in is whatever it is that we believe and we're trying to find the courage to do, people will actually react to us or they will show us what our inner dialogue is. That's all they're showing. So if my inner dialogue is I'm not in the mood now to talk, put you down, I'm not going to talk to you, you're never going to be heard, then of course, and I'm dying for them to accept me. So it's very important to notice I'm dying to be vulnerable. I'm dying to be open. I'm dying for somebody to hear me. Oh, okay, all these words together. Let me focus on those. And we're still going to stay with the whole open heart and sensitive, right? So we've got these terms. Now, I'm wishing for those things. First, ask myself, can I see them within me? Do I give myself permission to be vulnerable with myself? Do I give myself permission to hear myself? Do I give myself permission to sit and feel whatever I need to feel and be kind with that? If I don't do that, if I can accept that I'm feeling hurt and there's no one going to solve it, but no one, no, not even me. I'm hurt, no solution. I'm sad, no solution. I feel less of myself, no solution. Can I be okay with no solution? Because the immediate solution is that person has to give it to me by force, right? They have to give it to me. And if they don't, I will go into my victim state and I'll feel sad about it again and I'll shut my heart. Now, if my heart is open to me, how much does it really matter whether anybody gets it or not? If I'm starting to speak with someone and I don't have the dialogue, which I never used to hear before, but I heard it because now I'm seeing people's reactions to me, I'm like, what is that? So weird. People do ignore me, right? Like I was going through this, people do ignore me when I speak. And then I was like, in my head, there's belief that, well, I can't talk for too long. People are going to ignore me. But my wish was, they're going to be so interested in what I have to say. That was the wish. Okay. Because I had this wish, that means I didn't accept it about myself. That means I needed to look for it in other people. Okay. That means I have no open heart because I can't even find kindness within myself to accept myself. Is that making sense?
That's super interesting. Yeah, absolutely. And it just made me realize how we, wow, how often, especially I'll try to use I here, um, speak for myself, but yeah, I think I'm so used to like this world of just seeing like this instant like gratification and like seeing stuff in others. Like it's like having to see it. But I realize the disconnect is what I really need to do is like feel it. And I need to feel it for me because it's like I'm constantly trying to see it. Like you said, it's just momentarily. Yeah, they might respond great in that moment. So it's like, ooh, I see them. Ooh, they're captivated. They're excited. They respond well. Okay, cool. And then it just is this shallow, kind of the shallow, superficial connection there. And it's always going to be a shallow, superficial connection. And in fact, it's like, okay, I got it from that person right there. But it could be then all of a sudden I open up in the same way I did with this person, with another person, and then they shut me down, or they're like, all right, can you get to the point? Like, okay, you're kind of going all over the place. And if I'm insecure about that versus like, yeah, that's just how I talk. I squirrel. And if I could just sit with it and just own it and like allow myself to feel it, like, and ask myself, is it okay to squirrel or does it need to be short and sweet? Does it need to be short and sweet sentences? And like sit with it and realize, like, but I don't like just short and sweet. Like, I like it to go longer. I like a longer conversation. I don't want it to feel mechanical or just like A plus B equals C. You know, yeah, when I'm at work and when I'm doing math equations, absolutely. But conversations for me, I like to flow. I like to go with wherever the flow goes. And sometimes I might get off track from where I started, but the fact that I went there, that must mean that that's where I want to go. But that's for me to like own that and to feel that. So then when I do go there, if someone else, because it's probably triggering someone else's where maybe they respond with short sentences. And so it doesn't mean there's a right or a wrong. It just means that's how they communicate. And they actually are clear on how they communicate and they like it. And so it's like that could be an example to me of, oh, okay, like they're clear on how they speak and they like it. Now, how do I speak? But it's because I'm so lost and thinking, oh, because they speak that way, maybe I do need to speak that way. It's because I'm so confused inside. I'm insecure inside. I have so much self-doubt within me. And so, yeah, that's something I need to go look at.
Yeah, because it's interesting. As you were talking, sweetheart, what came through was like to start to notice that it is with the closest people to our lives that really, really resemble our parents or our interactions with our parents. So it's the closest people that we do want to speak. So let's say, yeah, you like to squirrel and go all over the place, right? With those people, like once you start being cool with it and you accept it, you're going to notice that you're going to do it completely different because that squirreling way of talking was a trauma response to not being heard, right? And when mom would actually pay attention for 5 minutes, you want to fill up the space with as much as you want to conversation because it's a window of an opportunity, right? So there are a lot of people, who talk a lot in certain, like when they're given the chance, with people who don't give them a chance, right?
Mm.
But with people who give you a chance and don't really care, you're noticed with them, you don't have this emergency state of needing to share right now. and be vulnerable and do all the things because they've given you a window of opportunity, right? But it's the people who are like short and sweet and very similar and like, I don't give you that much time, right? That don't give you that opportunity. But if you gave yourself the opportunity to just speak regardless, okay, because you feel safe within yourself, you may not even want to speak, or you'll have more breath time. You'll be able to contemplate without the worry that the person will daydream. They'll walk off. They'll think the conversation finished. It'll turn about them again, right? There's all these like spiky things that make us all, right, including me. Like I remember my ex, I would be like so delighted that he'd be like, okay, now we can talk. We've just scheduled our talking time, which we need to talk about relationships. That needs to be debunked. This is our talk time right here. And this is where I'm like, finally, and I sit and I'm like, okay, let me think of all the stuff, or let me make it right. And I start to talk and I'm finally just can be heard and and it would be done, right? Somehow internally, I don't feel complete ever because they're scheduled times, they're windows of opportunities. And I want them to be anytime, random, whenever, right? So this drama starts to happen in the body and you start to panic that you're missing the opportunity. That's what's really taking place there, right? It's an opportunity. So yes, accept the squirrely way, accept the way I speak, accept all this. And then as the acceptance starts to find its way, all of a sudden you're going to notice, oh, I don't need to jam pack. I don't need to have to say it all here. If this person is uninterested, like this is one of your first questions, we're like, what do we do then? If somebody is not interested to hear what's going on with your world, then I know it's very logical based, but it really is their loss because there are so many others that do enjoy that quality time. However, because they enjoy your quality time, they give you the space to be more free to be you. These are not the people we are invested to do that with. Okay. We're not invested to do that with because there's no challenge, there's no forcing our way, there's no need to bring it from them. Because remember, that need to bring it from them we have from the parents. We needed their attention. Okay. So we think that is love. We think that is just familiar pain. Right.
Ooh.
And there are a lot of people that offer us unconditionally. They're just listening. They don't mind, but you don't have that same passion towards them. You don't have that same urgency. And you think that urgency and passion is opening your heart and being in love. And I must teach them how to listen to me.
Okay. Dang.
Okay.
Okay. So, whoa, this just, all right. So, all right. So, how does this look then if it's somebody really close to you? So, if it's your partner or someone really close to you, and you realize, okay, this person just either isn't capable or interested in hearing of all these things, and it's like, but I love this person. They're the closest person to me. I want to share. I want them to be the person I go to. I want to be able to go to my best friend or whatever and open up to. Does that mean that, okay, maybe this isn't a relationship to be pursued? Or does it mean like, no, not at all? It just means that you don't go to that person. You naturally go to the other people that are safe, and it doesn't have to be your best friend or your partner. Is there a concern? It's like, when do you question the relationship? Like, gosh, I don't know if I feel emotionally safe to really open up and share all these things because I don't know if this person's interested. So is it like, okay, we need to look and see if the relationship is worth taking care of? Or does it mean, no, actually, it doesn't matter. Enjoy all the great things with your relationships. If it's physically fun and you do fun things and have different things in common, then just enjoy that with that person and then open up to someone that you naturally open up to, and it's fine. And the relationships can be just fine. I guess that's the question.
Well, okay. So basically, whenever there's a questioning of the relationship, it's less about questioning the relationship with that particular person. It's questioning the relationship with self. Meaning, how am I doing with me during this what is happening now? How is the transaction between me and me? This person simply reflecting. So with the closest people, because we choose them, we choose the closest people to be very similar to our family, very similar to our trauma. That's how we just choose them until we evolve and move on and all that. And then you declutter yourself, right? But that is how. what they do for us is that they're not the best friends to be there. They're not the one to turn to, but they're the great reflectors as to what is really going on in my system. They push, if you notice, these are the people, the friends, the partners, or even the parents, these are the ones that always push you to go sit with yourself. Because it's so hurtful what happens that you need time off, that you're going. But a lot of times we go sit with ourselves and we're in a victim state and we're trying to like figure out how to make them get it. So we write letters and we write emails and we try everything to make them get it. Yet that is not the point, because they don't get it, they never will get it. What happens in time is the more that I start to understand, wait a minute, this person is reflecting back to me all my wounds, okay, all my self-doubts, all my sensitivities that I don't know how to balance or be okay with, all the crap language I have within self. That's what they're doing for me now, right? Because the minute I am in a needy space, first of all, my heart is closed. The minute I'm in a space of needy, my heart is closed. I need him to see me. I need her to get it. I need that needy space, and you're going to feel it. Your body will clench, right? You'll feel a little bit anxious. It feels very tense on the shoulders. Every part of your body feels very tense because there's a need. There's this crazy desire to be seen, to be heard, and to be appreciated. When this happens, when this clenching happens, okay, immediately you remove yourself from the scene. No negotiation with self, no negotiation with anyone. You remove yourself from the scene and you cater here, okay? Because now your heart is super closed. Your heart is like, lock and chains and bars, and it's a cell and seatmates, and and you're like, oh no, 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 that's not what I want to do, because now I can't even hear me. I'm so invested in needing this person that I've lost me in the process. This is a small way to move closer. So you remove yourself from the scene, you go to the bathroom, you take a walk, you do whatever you need to do and open that heart again to you. Okay? So how do I do that in that spot, in that moment is, okay, I'm not questioning the relationship between me and this person, me and him, me and her. I'm going to question the relationship between me and me. What am I needing so desperately? Okay. Why is it so important? Why only this one specific person from the millions and billions of people in the world, and probably the hundreds of people in my life, or 50 or 20 or 30? Why this one person is the most important person for them to see me? Is it because I'm married? Is it because they have the title of best friend, the title of husband, the title of partner? What is making them that special that I lose myself? I let go of my sanity or my reasoning, right? And now I need it so desperately. So it's kind of like, so you're not, it's less, the minute you question the relationship, like, should I stay, should I go, is he the person I talk to, is she the one I speak to or not? The minute that happens, the clenching happens, you leave. Heart has been closed. You want to open it up. Not for them. They don't need to hear anything. They don't need to know anything. Okay. They are simply the angels guiding you back to self. You go back and you're like, okay, how did I feel? I felt totally ignored. I felt this. I felt that. This is not fair. Oh my God, this is not fair. Here it is. I hear me, but you have to speak it out so you can hear it. And it's a pocket of energy that needs to be popped out, right? This is the thing, because we can say whatever we want to these people. I've done it, well, most of my life. Listen to me, talk to me, hear me. Momentary band-aid, 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 band-aid. But it never worked. It never ever worked. Why? Because I was requesting somebody else to give me that which I don't even know, like I don't even accept about myself. I don't even like about myself. I don't know if did I answer the question?
Wow. Yes, that was amazing. And then when you had mentioned this, talking about like taking space for yourself, immediately taking space for yourself, it just made me think about our episode 2 where we talked about like holding space. And so that's a great episode for those to go back and like listen to that one as well, to like add more depth in that layer, in that area of that taking space for yourself, holding space, because that conversation was about, you know, trying to get that other people to hold space for me. I'm so good at holding space for them, and I need it from, them because I'm good at it. And so that's what it's about. And you just talked about that again of like, we've got to take that space for us and really give that to ourselves. So, ooh, wow, gosh, dang
Yeah.
it.
And another thing I'll also mention that this will really help everyone, all the sensitives. Me and Mel have this amazing free gift for you. Um, Seriously, go to the description, just get the gift. It's 11 essential questions for self discovery. And this is a great way to start it, where you just go in and you ask yourself these questions. Maybe when you do take that time off, bring that sheet out, have it on your phone. You don't have to answer all 11, even though 11 is a magical number. Just let your body choose the question, look at it, and answer it for yourself. It'll bring you back to center because now you want to know more about you and less about the relationship with which is outside of you and the other person. So this free gift, honestly, is going to be of great service to you.
Yeah, and you have that great download too while we're seeing offerings that go along with this about the sensitives. Or no, it was, let's see, selfish being self-care or whatever. You have that on our Buy Me a Coffee. Anyways, you have lots of good like the mind tweaks
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. The selfish versus self love, because yeah, a lot of people self love versus selfish. Yeah, that one's a must get. Like no matter what you do, just get it. It's going to help your world. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to think what other like layers and angles with this. This is such a great conversation of like, woo, this one's gonna resonate, I feel like, with a lot of people. I know a lot of people around me, we've been having these conversations about this. And gosh, I just love that every time it's all about just coming back home. That's what I love about the way that you channel and share that it's like, oh my gosh, it's a way of for me to take accountability, to be in my own space, which keeps me out of that victimhood. Like I can never be a victim if I truly realize it's me versus me. And oh, and you had mentioned too about like these are our angels, these people around us. Like here's going to be the big disservice. And I'm so glad you made this very clear. Like, if we are in a relationship and we don't figure this out, how to come back home to us, into our heart space and open our heart to us, then we're going to end a relationship. We're going to be like, oh, they don't give it to me. So we leave and we cut off that relationship. And then we search for it somewhere else and we think we find it because this person's a little different. And then we realize, oh gosh, it's the same thing. Oh my gosh, why do I keep attracting the same person over and over again? And it's because they're just going to keep reflecting back to us. They're literally just like, hello, like, can you say thank you? Like, I'm just trying to like show you these aspects that, again, I feel like they go to childhood pretty much every time. It's like, yeah, these relationships that we didn't have a voice when we were a child because our brain wasn't developed. We weren't taught that. We started in the womb of our mothers, like literally connected to her, like this, whatever she felt, drank, ate, whatever came straight to me. So it's like we're like one being. And then you cut the cord and it's like all of a sudden I'm a separate being. I think this human existence is about realizing that we're separate, not comparing ourselves to others, figuring out who we are, not connected to another human. And so I think this codependency cord goes really, really deep for a lot of us, of just so much trying to feed off other people and look through their eyes. And then we like get a little satisfaction or a dopamine fix when we see that they agreed with us, what we say, or that they believe what we said, or that they listened, or they validated. And when we don't get that, so like you said, it's this short little fix, and it's like this drug, you need to keep getting it, you want to keep getting it, and we're going to be searching for that our whole life, and it's going to be empty and shallow until I can just come back to me and my heart and really open up my heart and see, who am I? How do I like to talk? And so if anyone ever says, oh, or I don't like the way that you laugh, or you talk too long, or you're this, or you're that, like, do I believe it? Or I'm like, you know what? Actually, I like the way I talk. And if you don't like it, then you don't need to hang out with me or share space with me. Like, I'm not going to perceive it as I'm bad or wrong. And I think that's what it's about, is just feeling love for ourselves. And anywhere where we get like triggered or in self doubt, it's like taking that space, quiet space alone, to go sit with myself and fill my own bucket with that self love and get secure on, do I like this about myself or do I not? And if I don't, what am I going to do about it? Can I give it some love? Can I find the gift in it? What are your
Well,
thoughts on
you know
that?
what's interesting, Mel, and something you said, the time where you will have your heart open to you, um, and somebody says something, the strangest thing, you're never going to hear it. Like you won't hear it. Like it's happened to me so often where somebody would be like, like after the thing, they're like, didn't you hear what this person just told you? Or da, 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 da. How come you didn't react? I'm like, I never heard that. Or we're in an outing. Like this just happened a few days ago. Me and my friends are in an outing, and they're like finding all the ways in which the waitress was terrible, and and in their paradigm it was we're in the same pocket of energy, same paradigm, and to me she was fabulous, and they got us a table, and I was talking to this person and this person. The state I was in that day was more in alignment. I was like so open to the world, but I was truly open to myself, right? I liked me that day, right? I liked me in all the ways, and so naturally I saw that the world liked me too. They weren't in the same paradigm. So she came and did something. I had gone outside to the crystal store next door. I came back. They're like, you can't believe what she did. She took the chair. I'm like, holy, right? And then I went out, I went to the buffet and got this, and she did something. So I was never there when, because I wasn't getting to see that. When I would pass her, we'd smile and laugh and give high fives. So when you're in that place where you're like, I wish more people were more codependent on themselves. Like it would be so cool if I was more codependent on me, right, than on someone else. But once it happens, it's weird. But it's something who doesn't hit you. Dodge it without even meaning to dodge the thing. You won't hear the person say that. You won't bump into them in a bad mood. Like nothing. And it's effortless. What's the thing? It's not something anyone, you don't have to be like, I have to stand up for my right. I have to do that. And none of that happens because it's not you against anyone.
Mm.
So that clicked when you said the whole thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, but you won't hear it. It just won't come.
That's so true. That just brought up another thought. I realized like I had a relationship with someone in my life, and anytime we'd get together, we'd talk. Literally, we just would laugh and giggle, and we would pull out like the best versions of ourselves. Like she would pull out my little playful little girl like nobody else could. And we both would just laugh about the silliest things and act like we're like kids all the time when we got together. And then another person that had a relationship with them, they were like, oh, like they're just so negative and they only call me to vent, and it's like all this negative stuff, and I'm like, what? And I realized like, oh, they're pulling out, like they both have those negative versions that are just like, they feel like, oh, this is a safe place for me to be negative, so then they're negative, and so they're just like bumping into each other's negative energy. And I like, yeah, and then for me, I'm just like getting the best out of this person. We're having so much fun because that was the energy space I was in. And so that's all I would see. Like I'm like, I didn't even know this person had a negative side to them. It's so fascinating that, yeah, as soon as we can take care of us, we're and be in a good space and self-love and acceptance and get out of self-doubt and all that, we truly just attract that, and it just vibrates and just keeps, yeah, just keeps expanding from there. Super interesting how that really truly
It's
works.
different. It's not even about attracting because attracting is efforting. It's more about just, I don't even know what it is. It just happens. Like it, because when I'm in a bad mood, I want to be in a bad mood. I really, really, really do. Right. And when I'm in a happy mood, I choose, I want to maintain the happy mood, but it's not, there's anything we do for that, right? It's really just it's alone with me choosing this moment. I'm going to go self discover or self reflect instead of trying to get them to discover who I am. That's why it's called self discovery, right?
Yeah.
It's not husband, mom, dad need to discover who I am, right? It's self discovery. I'm doing it on my own. Like, I don't care. But you guys are all of these amazing angels who are trying to give me more of what I need to just sit with, I
Yeah.
think.
Till we get complete fulfillment. What a beautiful way to look at life, too. And this experience of like, oh my gosh, all these people around me that I've chosen to be in my life, especially when we're adults. It's like we chose our partner, we have our kids, we created our kids, we decided if we wanted them or not. Like all of this, our friends who we choose to share our time with, like they're all just like little gifts for us. They're like our medicine. They're our little angels of just showing us who who we are, what we're feeling inside to feel complete satisfaction. And so we could look at them like, oh, they're poison. Oh, my spouse is so mean, or this person or whatever. And oh gosh, they're just and like complain, complain, complain. Or we could see them as like, oh wow, they just keep showing me where I'm not showing up for myself. Wow, what a gift. I'm so grateful. Oh, well, there's more for me to go look at. Okay, I'm gonna go and look at that. It's like it really can
Exactly.
like make or break relationships, or we could see it as like a poison, which causes us pain and hurt just to think that thought and be like, gosh, they're just this thorn in my side. Or it's, gosh, they're such a gift, and I
Yeah.
chose
And
them. I
I
chose them for a reason. If I run away from them, why? I'm just going to keep attracting that. So I might as well practice being me with this person.
And I just need, this is a very important disclosure because a lot of people are with narcissists, are with abusive people that are in unhealthy relationships. This does not at all mean stay in an unhealthy relationship. This simply means that while you're in that relationship, discover more about you so that you can actually have the decision, the conscious decision to leave or stay, right? But please do not stick to any relationship. I don't care how obsessive you are about it. Okay, if it is in any form disrespectful, unkind, demeaning, abusive in any way, you have the freedom to leave. Okay, so this isn't for anything that's drastic. This is just, and even if it isn't drastic, even if both of you just argue 24 hours a day and you're doing all this stuff and you're reflecting, and you need to leave. Like there's no thing as this, never stick to a marriage because it's, you have to work out who you are. No, when it's done, leave. I've done it. I've left. I figured things out. I left and I worked on myself, and it was so much easier than working with a partner with me in the house. Right? I was my progression to self evolve had stopped. I couldn't self evolve anymore with this being with me in the
Yes.
house. Right? It stops. And then I choose to leave. I'm like, no, I'm still hitting my head against a brick wall, but now I know more of who I am and my choice is to leave. So just clarifying. And I know
Yes.
Mel's on
Well,
the same page.
yeah. And I think that's just knowing the difference, because the truth is there's a lot of times where it's like it gets so confusing in the head. It's like, oh my gosh, like, is it someone that like, okay, maybe I need to find someone else if they're not emotionally available or they can't communicate or hold space or all of this. But I think it's one, you have to test out one, being clear who you are, your voice, and practice speaking it. Because there's a lot of times where we're so afraid we actually don't set healthy boundaries. We don't speak our truth. We don't say the things that we mean out of fear space, out of just clear, direct, hey, this is what I need from you. Because I've had several people in my life with different relationships where they really thought, gosh, this person, they always put the finger back on me. It's me, me, me. And as soon as the person, but they never really stood up for themselves, as soon as they got clear and stood up for themselves and said, hey, I'm going to need to take some space. I'm going to live on my own space for a while, and then took the space, then the other person like really started to show up because they set clear boundaries. And the other person was like, oh gosh, this person's serious. I do love this person. I am willing to be there and listen to the other person. So I think give people the benefit of the doubt, give them a chance, but we can't do that until we get clear about what we want. And a lot of us just don't even go there. We don't even know what we want, especially a lot of women that are so used to like being caregivers and jumping into, oh, I want to be the best wife. I want to be the best mom. Like that was me. I got so excited about these roles. And I went from childhood to college to living with roommates to then being married. And the truth is, I never had time to figure out who the crap I even was, because it was always living out of other people's eyes my whole life. And so here I am married with kids trying to figure out who the heck am I. And so that's been the self discovery for me to like, gosh, what do I even want? I never knew. So there was confusion with my partnerships because I had this weird energy and expectations. And so now that I'm learning about how this works coming home to me, it's like when I do speak what I need to, a lot of times my spouse does show up and I'm like, gosh, I'm glad I didn't just leave and be like, oh, they're just not capable of giving it to me. So I think you start with that. And you've mentioned this before in other episodes. Try speaking your truth like 2 or 3 times. Be very clear. One, know what you want, then communicate it, and then see if they're able to respond. But if they can't figure it out after 2 or 3 times, then you realize, okay, this person's just going to walk all over you. It's probably time to leave. But then when you leave, you're not in fear space. You're not like, oh my gosh, well, what if I leave and then this person changes and I get this amazing guy back that I was first dating that was amazing? Like, I don't want to do that. So maybe I stick it out. But I think you would know by that point, like, because the truth is some people aren't willing to change, and you shouldn't go through it 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 times trying to have this space when the truth is they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, I think what's interesting in what you said about the story is that the example that you gave of the person who stood up for themselves, it's actually, which brings us to the topic, is they've opened their hearts to themselves again, right? Which is opening my heart to me, and really, like Mel shared, seriously go to our episode 2 of Holding Space. It really is very respectful to self. So that's what open heart actually means. I can open my heart to me means I respect my feelings. I respect who I am. I respect my heart. I even respect the horrible language talking to me inside. I'm in self respect. If you respect yourself, then it's so easy for you to open your heart to you because there's somebody respectful within you that is going to honor every aspect of you, right? And that is what an open heart looks like. So when Mel was giving that example of the woman who decided, hey, I'm leaving, she just opened her heart to herself. She decided, I'm important. And when we decide, that's actually the thing. Am I important? Yes, I've opened my heart. That's all it is. It's really that easy. Ask yourself that question every single time. When the clenching happens, maybe that's a very good question to ask. Right?
Mm, I love it. Well, I think that's all my questions that I need to share. Do you have anything else about this?
I think we went pretty deep in this one. I think this is going to lead into many other kinds of episodes because
Mhm.
we touched base on a few little things, but each one of them is very deep. So if any of you like something clicked or you're like, oh, I'd like to know more about this, me and Mel would love for you to leave your comments, ask your questions, and we'll really get back to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We love that. We truly just want to connect with, we're connecting with us. We want to connect with all of you. And again, if you found value in this episode, like, comment, subscribe. That helps us grow. And check out our Buy Me a Coffee account. I don't know if those that are watching this, I'm wearing the cutest jewelry ever. So I've got these earrings that are super cute and this necklace and a matching bracelet. And you can switch out the colors in them. There's these, it comes with these colors. So you can switch like, so this is a stainless steel necklace. You can put a different color in it. You can add an essential oil to it. It absorbs into the pad so you can smell it throughout the day. My bracelet smells amazing. And you can switch out the colors too for fun if you're not into the oils. It's like 6 different bracelets. So today I wanted a little pop of blue. Super cute, super great gifts. So anyways, just check it out. Support us there. We've got digital products, jewelry. Just donate on the Buy Me a Coffee. And yeah, we appreciate your support. Thanks for listening to us. And we look forward to seeing you on next week's episode. And get your free digital download too that we have on there. Don't forget to get that, your gift.